On this week's edition of Connecticut Naturalist, we take a trip to North Carolina. We visit some otters and a bobcat in the North Carolina Nature Center. The Biltmore Estate is America's largest private home, with scenic gardens and views of the Blue Ridge Mountains. We explore life in the Davidson River in Brevard, North Carolina. We're on the quest for the largest salamander in North America, the hellbender. We visit some historic sites, including Andrew Jackson's Hermitage and George Washington's Mount Vernon. It wouldn't be a complete trip without exploring some wetlands. We stop at the famous Duke Gardens and encounter some rare species of ducks. All this and more on this week's edition of Connecticut Naturalist. And now, here's your host.
Hello friends, I'm Will Michael and you're watching Connecticut Naturalist. You may remember a few weeks ago, I broadcast an episode about my road trip to North Carolina. At the time, I couldn't find some of my tapes. I'm happy to report this week, I've got all my tapes, so now we can take a look at the trip in its entirety.
Our first stop on our trip is in Virginia at the Luray Caverns. From above the surface, the landscape does not appear to be that unusual. But alas, the secret of Luray lies in a subterranean realm. We enter the caverns, filled with stalagmites and stalactites, and columns of limestone that has formed over millions of years. The caverns were discovered in 1878 by a tinsmith and a local photographer. They were looking for a way to bring revenue into the town of Luray. They believed that there might be caverns in this area and chipped away through a small hole that was visible from above the rock surface. Upon entry, the caverns far exceeded their expectations, and sure enough, the caverns did bring a lot of revenue into Luray. Tourists continue to flock to this area to explore for themselves this remarkable wonder of the natural world. Some chambers that we're exploring span the length of nearly 2 football fields and rise to the height of almost 10 stories. Caverns are home to the world's largest musical instrument, the stalagpipe organ. In 1954, Leland Sprinkle created a system of electronic mallets that tap particular stalactites throughout the cavern. Microphones amplify the vibrations and bring them back to the speakers. Each stalactite resonates at a certain tone. The organ is now programmed to play a series of songs for tourists to witness. It's amazing to think that these rocks are actually vibrating in pitches that we can hear as common melodies. The organ room used to be the location for parties and festivals in Luray. Today this chamber can be rented for weddings and other fun. We make another stop in Virginia at the Natural Bridge. This formation is labeled as old as the dawn. Not only was it a scene of natural beauty, but it also was historically inspiring. On July 5th, 1774, just before the American Revolution and writing of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson purchased 157 acres of land, including the Natural Bridge, from King George III of England for 20 shillings. In 1750, young George Washington surveyed the Natural Bridge for Lord Fairfax. Washington climbed up the steep wall and carved his initials into the rock. His initials can still be seen today. They're over 250 years old. George Washington is one of my heroes, and to be in the same place where he explored as a youth is truly inspirational. Before he was a general or president, he was out here in the forest, appreciating the natural world, just like we do on this program. I bet if George had a camera in his day, he'd also be producing a nature television program. We now say goodbye to the Natural Bridge, and we take the Skyline Drive into North Carolina. Our first location is the North Carolina Nature Center. This is a relatively small preserve, but it's also an education center and small zoo. Among my favorite animals were a pair of river otters. Otters are among the most playful and curious mammals in the animal kingdom. In the future, I'll be videotaping otters in the wilds of Connecticut. Not many people know that Connecticut is in fact home to otters. They're one of the beaver's natural predators. Otters are able to swim underneath and into the beaver lodge and capture the beaver young. Another fine specimen is this bobcat. Extremely secretive, the bobcat is difficult to film in the wild. But fortunately for us in Connecticut, we also have these cats in the wild. This is another tough video assignment, but I'm confident we'll get one on film in the near future from our own forests back home. A popular site for residents and tourists in North Carolina is Sliding Rock. In the nearby forest, we uncover a roach-like insect hiding under a rotting log. Our next stop is Chimney Rock, the site where the movie Last of the Mohegans was filmed. This is a beautiful rocky terrain above the tree line. The trail passes over massive boulders and jagged rock faces. Now here we have Moonshiner's Cave. A stairway leads down, but it turns out it's only a dead end with not much to offer. But still, it's always fun going down inside of a cave. As we hike along the hot rock faces, lizards dart over and around the trail. They're speedy little creatures, but I've managed to snatch this one so we can have a better look. They sit on the rocks, absorbing heat from the rock faces and from the sun. It's fun to be filming lizards for a change. In Connecticut, we only have one type, a five-line skink. Down here, there's much more of a variety. This green anole is even faster. This one races up a tree to evade my camera. The Duke Gardens were absolutely pristine and perfectly manicured. Located in Durham, North Carolina, on the grounds of Duke University, the flowers, plants, stonework, and trees are absolutely beautiful. One could spend the whole day just sitting by the pond, watching the wildlife and scenery. The pond is home to a variety of unique ducks, including these mandarin ducks. These two are both males. The females are gray and white and may be hiding on a clutch of eggs along the shore. These ducks were imported from Asia and are here for people to view. They are related to the wood duck and are excellent flyers. Notice the orange crest of feathers on the back. The bright red beak and long neck feathers contribute to these ducks' splendid appearance.
Now stay tuned for a Connecticut Naturalist trivia question with correspondent Isabel Miner.
Hello friends, I'm Isabel Miner with this week's trivia question. The weeks between July 4th and August 11th are often referred to as the dog days of summer. During this time of year, we are supposed to have our hottest temperatures. But do you know why the name dog days? Here's a hint. It doesn't have anything to do with your family pet. But there is a relationship to a giant dog in the sky. Stay tuned and I'll be back with your answer shortly.
As you probably know by now, salamanders are one of my favorite creatures to document. While in North Carolina, I found 3 brand new species that I've never encountered before. Here's a look. I'm happy to report that we're documenting a salamander that has never appeared before on this program. The seal salamander. Seal salamanders are members of the family of lung-nosed salamanders. Lungs are absent in these species,
The respiration is accomplished through the skin and the lining of the mouth. This means that these salamanders can absorb oxygen directly through their skin. As long as they move, oxygen can pass from the environment into their body. These salamanders are stout-bodied and can grow up to 5 inches long. Their tails are compressed and have a nice egg shape near the tip. The colorations on the back vary from light brown, red, deep black, and dark brown. The color patterns are usually arranged in a net-like pattern of circles. Adults may lose all traces of color variation. Sea salamanders can be found in the mountainous terrain of the Appalachian region in Pennsylvania to Alabama. Sea salamanders prefer cool, wet spots in low-shaded ravines on the banks of mountain streams. As you can see, they blend in well with the sandy bottom of the stream. This specimen is found on a trail along the Blue Ridge Parkway. They tend to live in streams that are too small for fish. They've earned the name seal salamander because sometimes they perch on rocks or entrances to their burrows in a manner that reflects their skin, usually at night. They feed on small insects such as ants and beetles, and occasionally other salamanders. At first I thought the small salamander was just another redhead. But on closer inspection, I discovered that this is not a brand new species, the eastern zigzag salamander. They range in size from 2.5 to 3.5 inches. The color pattern looks similar to the redhead common in Connecticut. However, you'll notice that the red pigment on the back zigzags back and forth, as opposed to the straight red on the tail half of the creature. Here's another species. This is the dusky salamander. We have dusky salamanders in Connecticut, but they're not as abundant as they are down here. Duskies are medium-sized salamanders with compressed tails. They have a wide variety of color variation, sometimes making them difficult to identify. Their rear legs are much thicker than their front legs. This aspect is helpful in identifying them. Notice the color patterns on this individual cell. When they age, duskies often turn uniformly dark, almost black in color. In the late summer, female duskies lay about 20 eggs under rocks or debris around the streams. She guards the eggs until they hatch into spotted larvae. Larvae transform following spring.
This guarding behavior is similar to the marbled salamander.
Hi, I'm back with your trivia answer. The days from July 4th through August 11th are called dog days of summer because during these days, Sirius the dog star is rising in the morning sky. Sirius is part of the constellation Canis Major. Sirius is one of the largest stars in our solar system. When it rises in the morning along with our sun, more light energy is thought to enter our atmosphere, causing higher temperatures. That's your trivia for the week. I'm Isabel Miner, and I'll see you next week.
Besides exploring areas of natural beauty, I was also able to document areas of historical importance.
I toured the largest private home in America, the Biltmore Estate. At first, I was hesitant to purchase a ticket because the price was $38. And I thought, a house is a house. Why spend $38 to see a big one? But I'm glad I splurged, because this house is like none other in the world. Unfortunately, cameras were not allowed inside the house because everything is privately owned and copyrighted. The Biltmore Estate was the home of George Vanderbilt, the grandson of the railroad tycoon Cornelius Vanderbilt. George was born into a family of enormous wealth and used his share of the money to build this large estate. The house has 250 rooms. with an indoor swimming pool, gymnasium, 65 fireplaces, library, canning rooms, servants' quarters, and much more. Biltmore was intended to be a self-sufficient estate, complete with a working farm, vineyard, and winery. The gardens and greenhouse are immaculate. All sorts of tropical plants grow in the greenhouses, and the flower gardens outside contain thousands of flowering plants. Rows upon rows of tulips blossom in April. The Blue Ridge Mountains provide a gorgeous background behind the mansion, and for those touring the gardens. Much wildlife dwells here. Throughout the year, naturalists lead tours around the estate and inform visitors about the diversity of plant and animal life found inside the property. Here we have a mockingbird perched on a limb. Mockingbirds sing beautiful songs and can mimic other birds. Sometimes they even sing at night. It would not be right to harm such a lovely bird. This sparrow appears to be eating small insects in the grass. It might be eating grass seed. It's difficult to see, although it could be looking for dry grass to use for constructing a nest. One thing is for certain, this little sparrow sure looks nice out here on a warm spring day. I found a beautiful swampy area near the NC Nature Preserve. This is not part of the preserve, but a lot more natural wildlife can be found here, in this unmanaged section of wilderness. And here comes a muskrat. I'm not able to get any closer because of the deep mud, but as long as I remain still, he'll go about his business. Muskrats have poor vision and cannot see unless you are thrashing about.
The main goal of my North Carolina road trip was to document the hellbender, the largest salamander in North America. I spent the day in the Davidson River searching, and here's what I found.
As we explore the river, we find a group of yellow swallowtail butterflies sipping water from the sand along the shore. There were larger groups of swallowtails clustered together, but on approach they rapidly dispersed. The Davidson River has clear water, a rocky bottom, and a swift-moving current. This is the perfect environment for North America's largest salamander, the hellbender. I spent hours in the river turning over stones, straining my eyes through the water's surface, trying to spot any sign of this mysterious amphibian. Crayfish and bottom-feeding suckerfish were uncovered. These fish are remarkably colorful, considering their place on the river bottom. They blend in well with the rocks. Everything is camouflage. I found a clutch of toad eggs. These are from the Eastern American toad, the same species commonly found in Connecticut. After a few days, the eggs have turned into hundreds of tiny tadpoles. This shot shows the tadpoles of the toads. A week later, when I return to visit the river on a second exploration. Time always marches on, from egg to tadpole, and in a few weeks, tiny toad. My favorite shot from the river is inside a small pool of water. Thousands of wood frog tadpoles are waiting to become frogs. With my underwater camera, I'm right inside the pool with the tadpoles. For the next few minutes, I have to just watch as the tadpoles dance across the camera lens. I hope you enjoy Life in a Bubble, the world of the tadpole. Under one rock, we've discovered a clutch of white eggs. I'm not 100% sure if these are hellbender eggs, but certain aspects of them fit the description. Females lay eggs under rocks, but the eggs are often guarded by males. One article stated that the eggs are the size of ping pong balls, while another photograph showed white eggs the same size as these. I'll have to send this photo to a scientist in North Carolina and ask for a direct answer. Unfortunately, we didn't find a hellbender in the wild this time, but the NC Nature Center has one on display. The hellbender has a large fold of skin that increases its body's surface area, aiding in respiration. They absorb oxygen through their skin. Hellbender's staple food is crayfish and occasionally small fish. It's sad that so many fishermen kill these creatures because of the false belief that they are a threat to their trout. I recently learned that hellbender habitat stretches all the way to western New York. That's good news, and now I won't have to drive all the way to North Carolina to find one. While in Asheville, North Carolina, I stayed with friends that have a pet python. This is Larry, and he's over 7 feet long. Larry was shedding his skin while I was visiting, which means that he's continuing to grow and working up an appetite. It's feeding time, so let's take a look at his eating habits. This may be a little gruesome for some viewers.
Oh my gosh, that was so fast.
I didn't expect that.
Larry quickly wraps around the rat, and in a few seconds, the rat is suffocated. Larry is a solid mass of pure muscle, a finely tuned instrument that has the genetic memory of millions of years stored in his tiny brain. The rat has no chance. After the rat is dead, Larry slowly uncoils and dislocates his jaw. He slowly engulfs the rat. It seemed to be quite a challenge for Larry to manipulate the rat down his throat. These actions exemplify the intelligence level of the snake. He's not too bright. He is designed for one thing and one thing only: strike, constrict, and digest. Finally, the last bit of cow goes down. From a distance, it looks like Larry is sticking his tongue out at the camera. After Larry digests the rat, this is all that will remain. This is all that's left of the rat.
That's 3 rats.
This is what?
Bone.
Ground up bone.
Right, calcium.
And this is the fur.
Yeah.
Like an owl pellet.
That's the only thing he doesn't eat, I guess.
And this is a big clump of calcium. Now in Durham, NC, I'm exploring the Eno River with some friends. A water snake swims upstream on a hot day. He makes his way to a rock, and from this angle appears to be watching the humans as they splash about in the river. Notice the colorful markings on the snake's skin. As my trip comes to a close, and I get ever closer to Connecticut, I make a quick stop at George Washington's Mount Vernon estate. Dear George, forever will you be an inspiration to our country. If we ever lose sight of you, our country will too be lost. Well, friends, we've come to the end of this week's episode. I'm Will Michael, and you've been watching Connecticut Naturalist. Thanks a lot, and stay tuned for an all-new animal music video.
Wesley the weasel hates the smell of diesel, never sleeps inside the tractor barn. He prefers the hen house, for him it is a penthouse filled with all the lovely lady chickens. When Farmer Brown sleeps, inside Wesley creeps, and one by one each hen disappears. In Farmer Brown's stream, he hears a chicken scream as Wesley fires up the grill.
Hello! Yes, Farmer Brown, it's me, Wesley. I'd like to order 5 chicken wings, chicken corn on bleu, chicken souffle, chicken strudenoff, 5 chicken things.
Brown sets a trap.
Here's to Wesley's epitaph.
Chicken soup laced with cyanide. But Wesley is clever.
My mother taught me better.
Remember, son, to stay away from poison.
Wesley the weasel hides under the steeple.
He confessed to me he's no remorse for his life's cause.
Hello? Yes, I was wondering, do you have any chicken on special today? Perhaps chicken thighs, chicken wings, chicken souffle, chicken corn on bleu, anything that has to do with chicken, because I just love chicken. And
You're dead meat, Wesley!
Wesley the weasel, faster than a beagle, even with a heavy dozen eggs. When Rooster called the dawn, Wesley he was gone, through a hole in the back wall of the shed. Brown then decided the coop he were hiding, a shotgun would surely do the trick. That weasel is a fighter, the musket backfired, and Wesley escaped once again.
Wesley the weasel hides under the steeple.
He confessed to me he's no remorse for his life's cause.
Wesley the weasel, faster than a beagle,
Flies through the night with a dozen eggs and a chicken thigh.
My dear Wesleyna, look what I've brought for you.
Why, Wesley, what is it?
Chicken wings, chicken salad, chicken stew,
Wesley,
chicken
my
corn on bleu,
favorite.
fried chicken, chicken wings, chicken legs, chicken everything.
Oh,
Oh, Wesleyna, you don't know what I went through to get all these food for our family.
oh, you didn't have to do it for
There was a
me.
beagle and Farmer Brown had a shotgun. He tried to blow
I'm
my
not
head off.
surprised.
And I got my fur.
We have
My fur.
This is Alfonso Raccoon, reminding you to stay tuned to Connecticut Naturalist as we continue to explore wildlife in the weeks ahead. Thank you, and good night.